Okay, this is one of the least convenient places to paint, but that's okay. Okay, so here's my progress. But I was just sitting here thinking, okay, about religion and the effects of like my childhood and like just puzzle, okay? Piecing puzzle pieces together to form bigger pictures. And I realized so many ways that Mormonism caused friction. I need to take some lazy. Okay, but listen, here's a story, and then I gotta go back to work on my painting. When I was 17, maybe, yeah, probably 17, doesn't matter, but I was around that age. My mom had a liver transplant, which was a huge deal. Huge, even scientifically, a huge deal. She is kind of a big deal in terms of what she did with her body. But my point is that I had a roommate at the time who was also Mormon, and she goes, look, it was a really highly emotional time in my life because I was always so afraid of losing my mom, and then my mom's life was like spared because she was given another chance with this new organ. And my roommate was like one of my best friends, and she, instead of being like happy for me and like celebrating with me and like experiencing my emotions with me, she goes, that's not right. She goes, my parents tell me that that's like against God's plan, and that the church is like looks down upon your mom having a transplant and all this stuff. And I go, what? I go, well, first of all, this is what I hate about former me, by the way. Okay, I can't say I hate that because that's shame based. This is something that I have to work through and that I dislike about former me, okay? Healing. But I go, well, my dad's a stake president too, because her dad was a stake president and so was mine. And I said, well, my dad's a stake president too, and this is my mom, and like, she's gonna be able to live longer because this was a gift from God. And she goes, well, it's against the church's principles or whatever. And I remember I actually had a boyfriend at the time who, bless his soul, was a sweetheart. He went and looked up the official church handbook and like their official stance on organ donations and stuff. It became like this, like me having to defend my mom's medical choices to my friend. I'm like, aren't we supposed to like support each other as a community? And no diss on my friend because literally she was doing what she thought was the best thing to do. But wouldn't you want to? I remember thinking, like, shouldn't I belong in a church where we all agree on something and that like we celebrate together and we don't like judge and look down on each other about choices that I don't know. It was just a really eye-opening experience. I will say I do love this roommate, and we got through it. But at the time, it was I don't know if she even knows that it was like a big deal for me. But it taught me a lot about myself more than anything, and I'm not upset with her. It just made me realize like my own reaction to the situation was like kind of fascinating because then I also thought a lot about organ donation and organ stuff related to the Mormon theology. Now that I've like done my research on Mormonism and know more of the tenets and whatnot, I go, well, no wonder why my friend was a little bit freaked out. Like I get her perspective, but at the time my perspective was so limited that I was like I felt hurt and offended. Well, it was just a good learning lesson for me. But anyway, it made me realize Mormonism is not the religion for me though, because like shouldn't we be part of something that like unifies us? And it was literally like us talking about the Mormon guidelines that set us apart. It wasn't even about God. It was about like, well, the prophet says this. Well, I don't care what the prophet says. because he doesn't even relay with the God that I relay with. Because if he did, he would tell people to love one another and to accept gay people as God's creation. So I digress. Peace out. Love you guys.